Come on.
Do I sound like I'm joking? Do I sound like I'm playing? When you look into my eyes, you understand what I'm saying? Let me say it to you slowly, and it may sound scandalous. I don't think that you can handle this.
Once again, we are on. He is the great Mike Steph. I am the Mojo King, and this is Hidden Gems Football, brought to you by the 19 Media Group. Before we start, I'd like to thank you, yes, you, for listening to us, whether it's on YouTube or on audio platforms all across the world. We're international. Mike Steph, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm nice and refreshed. Had a nice long 4-day weekend, spent it with the fam and close friends, close family. It was a very great outing. So with that being said, I don't know why I chose to taint that great outing by watching my New York Jets when I was having such a great time, and that just put an ugly capper on my weekend. But besides that, I'm great. Got some great news right before we start recording. So yeah, ready to go. Plus I got my nice stretching Barbito. Came in the mail yesterday. Takes me back to 34 years ago, in which I stayed up late night to tape over TDK tapes and that didn't deserve to come out. So I just put the tissue in the little 2 holes, and you was able to dub over it. It was beautiful. So yeah, I'm back in a 90 state of mind right now. So yeah, doing good.
Yeah, I don't really know what you're talking about at the end there because that's before my time. But I do believe, Mike Steph, you have one big thing to talk about.
Breaking news came out, and that was news that New York Jets general manager Joe Douglas was fired after 5 years of futility, after 5 years of not really doing a great job. I believe that if he lasted to the end of the season, he would have been GM for about 100 games. And he probably would have had the lowest percentage for a GM that lasted that amount of time in NFL history. He was on course, if he hasn't reached that point already, of losing 70 games. And my question is, why did it last so long? Why did he last so long? Yeah, the only thing that he has to hold on to was that draft class of a couple years ago of Breece Hall, Ahmed Gardner. Yeah, I know his name is Source. Ahmed Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson. Those 4 studs were supposed to be the foundation of this latest iteration of the Jet team. But everything else has not paid dividends. A lot of, if not all of his free agent signings have fizzled. But one of the greatest failures, a couple weeks ago, we finally put the end to the Greg Zuerlein experiment after he cost us numerous games with his faulty leg, right? So we're getting kickers in off the scrap heap, having them compete. We get one kicker that played a game, kicked 2 field goals. We're like, you know what? I think we got to keep it here. Well, we elevated him off the practice squad. Guess what happened? A couple days later, Harrison Butker of the Kansas City Chiefs had to go into IR. And guess who they used to replace him? The kicker that we just elevated from the practice squad. So my thing is like, what was he doing? Like, those are roster moves that normally an active GM would be on top of. Devontae Adams. Everybody knew Devontae Adams was eventually going to be a Jet. You got him in what, week 6? Could have got that done earlier. You traded for Hassan Reddick when you knew that he wanted a deal, and you said, yeah, we'll give you a deal when you come in. And when he came in, there was no deal. And it took the owner to pretty much cast you aside just to get him in camp. All these are signs that the GM is negligent in their duty. But problem number 1 is he was never accountable. He was never available to be accountable. He would talk to the press maybe twice a season, during the bye week and during the end of season wrap up. That was it. Come on, if you're in such a market as New York, and with the futility of this Jet team, especially with Aaron Rodgers coming in. Last year, Aaron Rodgers got hurt on the 4th or 5th play. And did he ever get a replacement quarterback? No. Not for the first couple weeks. And then when he did get a replacement quarterback, who did he bring in? Trevor Siemian. Last year, we might have had a chance if we had Tyrod Taylor to even sneak into the playoffs. But that's water under the bridge. The Joe Douglas era is over. An era spelled E-R-R-O-R. Era is over. Now he'll go back to his cushy job as some type of pencil pusher, probably back in Baltimore or probably back in Philly. And now that leaves the Jets, who was a rudderless ship to begin with. We're just on sails trying to ride the wave out for these last 6 games. So even though we're not talking about the Jets this week, we just talked about the Jets this week. And the Jets will be my downfall, not only in real life, but on the screen, on this platform, and in my fandom. And that, my friends, is Mike Steph's one big thing. Yeah! 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 My son is mimicking me. Want to say hi, Chef Mix?
Wagwan.
You don't have to come on, Chris. Come on here. Say hi.
Wagwan people, them.
You're not Jamaican.
I'm Trinidadian.
Yeah, but Trinis don't talk like that.
Hello?
You got to talk faster
Hi.
so we can't understand you.
What's going on?
Okay.
We're talking things that make you blush, but trust us, it's a must. From awkward to taboo, we're here to guide you through. It don't matter if you're a bit of a prude, it's a prude awakening.
All right, let's move on to Thursday night football. The 8-2 Pittsburgh Steelers are heading to Cleveland to face the 2-8 Browns. The Steelers are 3.5-point favorites. The projected total is 35.5 points. That means Vegas is telling us that the final score will be 19.5 Pittsburgh, 16 points for Cleveland. As far as injuries, linebacker Alex Highsmith for Pittsburgh has an ankle injury and is unlikely to play this coming Thursday. On Cleveland's side, again, because we're doing this early, they have a list of injuries. I don't know if they're all true or not. We have 2 defensive backs that are injured, 2 offensive linemen that are injured, and then 2 key offensive position players, that being Elijah Moore and tight end David Njoku. He did have a good week last week, though.
It's the Saints.
Hey, Saints about to take that division. All right, Mike Steph, let's not worry about Saints right now. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, who you got?
I'll start with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is riding high. At the record of 8-2, they lead the AFC North after being victorious this past Sunday in their showdown against the Baltimore Ravens. They've won 5 in a row, and their last loss came against the Dallas Cowboys, a Dallas Cowboys team that looked a hell of a lot different back then when they lost to them on that rather delayed Sunday night classic, quotation marks. And that was only about 3 points. Now, people always think that this is the year that Mike Tomlin is going to slip, and every year he proves them wrong. I root for Mike Tomlin. Power to the people. Now, the defense is exquisite per usual. Now, they're second in the league in giving up points at 16 points per game. Not only did they slow down the high-scoring Ravens, as they tend to do, especially in Pittsburgh, but they beat them scoring nothing but field goals. It's 18-16. How does that happen? They made the switch to Russell Wilson from Justin Fields, and it seems like that switch is paying off because they haven't lost a game since the switch. I think they're 4-0 since the switch. Now, switching over to the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns, they're just here. They've lost 7-8 and 4-5 since they lost Deshaun Watson for the season due to injury. Last 2 games in particular, it seems like to me that they've let go of the rope, so to speak. After an emotional victory against the Ravens a couple weeks ago, 29-24, they've lost by 17 points to the Chargers and then followed that up after a bye with a 21-point loss against the aforementioned New Orleans Saints. They don't do anything particularly well. They're second to last in scoring at 16 points a game. The defense is broken, and to tell you the truth, there's not much to add concerning them. So, getting to the prediction, Pittsburgh minus the 3.5. Yeah. And that over under of 35.5. I'll go over because I really think that Cleveland is kind of closing shop, and it would not surprise me if, let's say, the game is 24. Yeah, no, 24-10. That would be under. So yeah, 27-10. 9 field goals will beat the Cleveland Browns.
9 field goals. All right.
Yeah, 9 times 3. Yeah, 27. Yeah.
Math. Pittsburgh, since Russell Wilson has returned, has been playing really well on offense, making some big chunk plays. And meanwhile, Cleveland, as you pointed out, has really seemed to lose a step these last couple of games. Their strong point pretty much all season was their defense was holding them into games, and Deshaun Watson was throwing them out of games. When Winston finally got his win, they were like, okay, now we finally have somebody that could throw some touchdowns, and they got a fighting chance. Last 2 weeks, they haven't had a fighting chance because a couple reasons. One, Jameis Winston is up and down. 2, they got rid of Amari Cooper, so now they don't really have a true number 1 wide receiver. But the main thing is that the defense has been kind of disappointing the last couple weeks. So with Russell Wilson having the Pittsburgh offense looking a little bit better, Cleveland's defense looking a little bit worse, that's the reason I go with you, agreeing all the way.
This is a 19 Media Group presentation.
All right. Once again, we are on. What are you doing?
Better left unsaid.
You know what? I don't even know where to go with it. No idea.
Moving along. I keep on telling people my wife ain't nothing to mess with. Shoot. People like she which call all her brothers are scared of her. Shoot. Or if they have a problem, first person they call, you need me to come down there and handle it? I'll handle it. Shoot, they ain't not gonna mess with my brother. My wife is that woman. She's her. It would be crazy if Arizona gets to the playoffs, especially after I trashed them. And we have video footage of Mr. McDowell toting their chances this year. Like he's like release the McDowell footage, sitting in one position, with shorts on.
It was better left unsaid.